Hey guys, what's up? It's Videobob, and this isn't one of my normal videos, but hey, people love to watch me work on stuff. This is a Subaru. It's an EA175V Black Max pressure washer I bought from Costco a couple years ago. Runs great, works great, except when it doesn't. Well, I can't blame this thing. The thing sat around with gas in it for like a year and a half or something like that. That's totally my fault. Now, they put a little drain on the bottom of the bowl so you can drain it. I didn't do that. I didn't take care of it. And what happened is, well, gas gets moisture in it, gets rusty, jets get clogged, and I was gonna do a video on how to clean the carburetor, how to blow out the jets, how to do all that, but then I realized you can just replace the entire carburetor unit quickly, easily, and cheaply, and I can't imagine anybody taking the time to try to rebuild this carburetor when you can redo this whole thing for like 20 bucks. So I'm gonna show you how to do it, how quick it is, how cheap it is, and of course there's a direct link right here in the video so you can order the kit and do it yourself. Let's do it right now. You don't have to be much of a mechanic to do this. First thing we're gonna do is just take off this little breather. Mine was missing the filter. The kit that I'm gonna show you, Subaru, comes with the air filter and this little sponge. This little sponge kind of just fits in here, sort of a pre-dust filter. And then the other filter would fit in there like that. We'll get to that later. The carburetor, here's your carb. Bowl comes with everything, including the hose. Also your gaskets. We'll get to those in a minute. Now you'll see there's not much holding this thing together. Let's take it apart. Okay, you just got these two 10 millimeters. Just gonna loosen these up. Now the interesting thing is that this whole thing is just held together by these two little 10 millimeters. When you pull this apart, you'll see what I'm talking about. That there's really not much to this. You've got this little breathing tube. You're gonna use this again. There's these two little spacers. Save those. And this is your old gasket. We're gonna put that aside. Now from this point on, the carb is loose because that's really all that's holding this thing on. Ah, there we go. Also, I don't know if you can see this on camera. Let me check. Yeah, here. Make sure your fuel line is closed. This is a little bit of a trick because you've got a spring here that's part of your throttle. And then these, you kind of got to stress this a little bit to get them up like this so you can remove them. All right, now, we could talk about all the reasons that this thing went bad. And the reasons are the jet inside is clogged, all the rubber has gone bad, the thing has turned to rust. It's not even worth messing with. Just trust me on this. If your unit has been sitting around for a while and the gas went bad on it, just replace the stuff. Quite frankly, there's nothing wrong with this gasket. I'm just gonna leave this gasket here. There's no cracks in it. I'm gonna keep that gasket. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to replace it or even add to it, you know. There's just no point though. We're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave that gasket on there. Okay. Here is our new carburetor. You can see some changes they've made here. You can see that this is now plastic on here. All right, this really couldn't be any simpler, okay? Because this simply goes right on here, but you'll find sometimes it's easier to go ahead and put things like this on ahead of time. if you saw what I just did there, this little spring, you can sometimes do this with your fingers, but not when you're wearing gloves. And take this little, you may not be able to see this on camera, but you just got to get this little spring into the little hole. And sometimes the easiest way to do that, there we go. Oh, I got it. There we go. And it's really, that's it, right? All you got to do is put this fuel line back on here. Sometimes you can kind of, gotta be careful you don't split the rubber, but there's extra here in case we need it. But sometimes just waller it out a little. Ah, see how that worked? That worked perfectly. All that matters here is choke works here. Now, I don't like the way they've got this set up because, let me check here. This one, there was no spring on this choke. And this one has a spring on it where you'd have to hold this choke. And maybe that's all right, but you'd have to hold this choke the whole time. We'll leave it on there. It wouldn't be hard to pull that spring off of there. Okay. Now we've got a couple of gaskets here. We've got this gasket goes here. And then we've got our spacers. Don't forget our spacers. You can see what's going on here. These actually kind of go inside of this. Don't forget that this little hose connects to this breather back here. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. That just literally goes right on there like that. Tighten up your 10 millimeters. Whoops, other way. Tighten up your 10 millimeters. Keep in mind this is plastic, but you do have those metal spacers. So you don't want to over torque it because you can not only crush and break the plastic, but you could break off the bolt. This isn't supposed to be super duper tight. It just needs to hold it on there. I would recommend also, I didn't do it on this, but for you, you should put a little thread locker on there maybe, some anti-seize, because this is going to vibrate and these can always vibrate. Come off. All right. Got your little breather here. This goes on underneath. Now turn your fuel on because it's going to have to fill up the bowl and that's going to take a moment to do. It runs 15, 20 bucks for a carburetor. Here's how you fix the carburetor in Subaru. Subaru. These carburetor kits are cheap. They come with everything you need. Takes literally a few minutes to change it. Even if you change a carburetor every year, which sounds ridiculous, I know, to a mechanic. But the way they make these things now, the metal isn't as good, the plastic isn't as good. It's not like the old Briggs & Stratton motors they used to build. They just don't have the longevity. And the way the gas is so much more acidic and has ethanol in it, it just rips these carburetors to shreds. So you want to make sure that you completely empty the thing out when you put it away. Put some stable through it. But if that doesn't work, keep an extra carburetor on hand because these engines will run forever. And the rest of this thing will probably last forever too. Carburetor's what goes bad. 20 bucks. Link is in the description below. I'm Videobob. Thanks for hanging out with me in this cool little video, and I'm going to go pressure wash the building. Catch you guys later. Subaru.